Hey gang, it's your buddy Platt back with another Spirit Series video. We're moving away from the whiskey world and we're headed to the Caribbean and start talking about rum. Before we get started, you might notice new Platt Our Channel shirt with the official Platt Our Channel logo. If you want yours today, look down below on the merchandise deck. Besides white, they also come in gray and black. I also have some hoodies, so if you want some want to be the cool kid on your block, get your shirt today. Now that I've got that probably unnecessary plug out of the way, let's talk about rum. Rum is a distilled spirit from either sugarcane byproducts like molasses or from the fresh juice pressed from sugarcane. Rum is usually aged in oak. Most rum today is produced in the Caribbean and Latin America, but it's also produced in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, India, Japan. Rum can be produced anywhere. It's kind of like vodka in that sense. There's no denomination of origin or any kind of AOC protection, and again, because it's produced everywhere, that would be kind of hard to pull off. So that's something a little unique for rum. As far as the word rum itself, there's really no set origin to the word. There are several theories though. One is the term, I believe it's pronounced room. It's spelled R-U-M, but there's a little symbol over the U. It's what the Turks referred to the Greeks, or how they called the Greeks at the time. It kind of makes sense because the Greeks were the first in the Mediterranean European area to distill from a fermented sugar base. I believe it was sugar beets they used there, not sugar cane. But that's one theory. Another theory is rum is short for the term rummers. Rummers was a large drinking glass the Dutch sailors used when they're at sea. That kind of makes a little sense. The Dutch were sailing throughout the Caribbean back at the time, so that kind of makes a little sense. The most likely origins are that rum is an abbreviation of a couple different words, rumbullion or rumbustion. That was slang for an uproar, a fracas, a tumult, and that kind of makes a little sense if you think about the sailors in the Caribbean back in the 1600s. Rough and tumble, and then they come in contact with this thing called rum. Probably were a lot of fracases while we're at the local bar, for the sailors and the pirates. So again, that's origins of the word rum. There's also rum, R-H-U-M. That is a rum produced from the pressings of the cane juice itself. And it's a term used in the French-speaking countries. We'll get into that a little bit more later, but that's a variation on rum. As far as the actual product rum itself, the first mentions of rum come in the 7th century AD in India. And it makes sense because it's Southeast Asia and India that are the homes of sugarcane, which later got brought to the Mediterranean and eventually made its way to the Caribbean. But India is known for the origins of that. By the 14th century, Marco Polo had written that he had drank a excellent sugar wine in the area we know today as Iran. Now, it wasn't clear if he had a distilled spirit based off the sugar wine or if he's just drinking fermented sugar and water. But we know Marco Polo in some way interacted with this product. Again, eventually by the 1600s or so, sugarcane is made to the Caribbean, and what we think of as modern rum today was created. At the time sugarcane was grown, they would then crush this, take the juice out, and what they were wanting was just sugar. They would extract this juice, start boiling it to get out impurities or take some of the water out, and what they ended up making was something like a cane syrup. They weren't producing crystallized sugar or sugar cubes or anything like that, but it was a cane syrup that then they would take and sell. They would do a couple of boilings. By the time they're through with the process, all they got left is a really thick not even call it liquid, kind of a goo that still has some sugar left over, and that's molasses. And to the sugar maker, so that was just waste. They would just throw in a barrel, throw it out back. But the local slaves would take it, add water, ferment it, then distill it, and that's modern day rum. It was pretty potent stuff. They obviously weren't doing second and third distillation, filtration, nothing like that. They weren't cutting it with water, so we're probably talking about a spirit 100, 110 proof on those old pot stills. And because of that, they referred to it as killed devil, which again, I'm pretty sure was a pretty raw, hot spirit. Unfortunately, that story lets you know that rum played a big part in the slave trade at the time. Slaves were brought to the Caribbean. They worked the sugarcane fields. They helped not just create sugar, but also the rum, the molasses byproduct. That molasses got sent to New England. What a lot of people don't know is before the Revolutionary War, rum was actually the spirit of America, not whiskey. And New England was the epicenter of rum production. And they would take that molasses, make rum in New England, and then send that rum to England and Europe, and they would take that money, go to Africa, get more slaves, and repeat the process. So I just thought that was important to bring up if we're talking about the history of rum. At the time, in the U.S., for every man, woman, and child in the U.S., 3 gallons of rum was consumed. So, again, pre-Revolutionary War, rum was a big player here in the U.S. There's a couple of ways we can classify rum. First is by the language spoke at the island or land of land of production. The English-speaking islands in the Caribbean and Latin America, however, they produced a darker, fuller-bodied rum. These are countries like Antigua, Barbados, Jamaica. If you're at Jamaican rum, you know this is not a light-bodied rum that goes nice in some like pineapple juice or something sweet or whatever. Next, we have the French. Again, they use the spelling R-H-U-M. They also refer to it as rum agricole. It is from the fresh juice pressed from cane. Because it is and not from a byproduct, it tends to be a little more expensive. Rum. It's produced on the islands Haiti, Guadeloupe, Martinique. Last, we have the Spanish rums. They tend to be aged or añejo style rums. Tend to be a little smoother because of that aging process. Let's think Cuba, Panama, Puerto Rico. So that's one way to classify rums. The way we're going to do it, as far as this video series go and other people, it's just the different styles. We have light rums, dark rums, gold rums, flavored rums, spiced rums, overproof rums. Then there's the rum agricole. Then there's cachaça, which is a Brazilian rum agricole, but if it gets aged in something a little different than oak. And we'll get in more detail in each one of those, but that's how we're going to classify rum. As far as the rum we're going to try today, we're going to try Classic Club Silver Rum, 40 proof or 80 proof, 40% alcohol by volume. This is a good example of what's called a private label brand, what have you. If you happen to live in an area where your local grocery store, Walmart, Costco, wherever, can sell distilled spirits, you will see along the aisle, you'll see Bacardi, you'll see Jack Daniels, Jose Cuervo, whatever, but you may also see a Kroger brand vodka or an Albertson brand gin or what have you. And it's not that Albertsons has a distillery or Kroger has a distillery. They will go to a company that specializes in what's called private labels. And this particular company this is produced by IWA Distilling, based in Louisville, Kentucky, and they kind of specialize in, if you're a grocery store, maybe a restaurant chain or whatever, want to have your own spirit, they will produce it. They're not worried about marketing it or this, that, and the other. You could tell there's not a fancy label, what have you. It's pretty much base stuff. you know, is it as good as some other stuff? I guess we'll have to try out. So let's give her a try. Looking at this, I'm going to say there's most likely not any aging on this. You'll still see, when we get into light rums, we'll talk about it a little bit, you'll still see clear rums that do get some aging, and then that color's kind of filtered out. But I got a feeling these store-bought brands, we're not really getting a lot of oak on that. Yeah, kind of hot on the nose, nothing, not picking up any wood or vanilla or anything like that. Let's give it a try. Well, I got a nice sweet punch on the tongue. Yeah, a little sweet. It's clean. It's a clean spirit. I will say this. You know, sometimes with these lower end spirits, you can kind of tell the job was done cheaply. This nice smooth spirit. Very simple though. You don't get any vanilla notes or anything else, but it's nice, clean, simple, sweet spirit. Again, if I was going to throw this in a bunch of Coke or fruit punch or whatever, if I was making a trash can punch, it's probably something like this would be perfect for that. Is it like a trash can punch? Because you're not going to taste the subtle difference in a gold rum or this, that, and the other. You're looking for, you know, just ABV to put in there, so something like this would work. Well, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please subscribe down below. Also, please like the video because it lets YouTube know we're putting out good content. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them in the comment section, or you can always contact me on the Twitter page. Till next time, bottoms up.